check it beforehand so we could have sorted this out. I'm literally on Facebook Live talking to people with you on the phone, so it's all good. We're going to sort this out. There we go. Yeah, so that was kind of scary. Your parents getting older and you're wondering what's going to happen. And then when you get a big gig after 2 years of a pandemic and you have to cancel, will you look at this? Okay, will you look at this? Will you look at this? I'm going to rip his face off. He thinks he has anger. Nobody can hear you because you're in the green room because you're dead to me right now. You're dead to me right now, Frank. You're dead. You think you had tragedy? Listen to the pain I'm in right now, Frank. You know what freaking pain? You guys are going to love him, even though I hate him right now. I didn't want to hate him. He made me hate him. Let me do a proper introduction. You friends. After a much delayed, hold on, I got to do this right because this is going to go up on the audio podcast. And even though I've been rambling for 15 minutes like a lunatic, I want to edit this and make it nice. I want to make it nice for the people. Okay, here we go. You ready? You're hanging with Langan, everybody. It's Maureen Langan. Happy to be with you. See how professional I am. All right. So this episode, I'm calling it Comedy and Tragedy because I really am. I sincerely am interested when people are faced with adversity or serious tragedy, what makes them sink and what makes them swim, and why do some people soar? So my friend Frank Liotti or Liotti, we're going to figure out how he likes to pronounce it, a Yale trained actor and comedian who in 3 years, beginning in 2008, lost his father, his mother 3 months later, his longtime best friend Ellen to suicide, and his sister to cancer. So Frank took to the comedy stage to, we do that oftentimes to release our rage, our anger, our feelings, to just express ourselves and to process it. So he has appeared on Gotham, Caroline's, on TV shows Law and Order and Blue Bloods. But you know what? In addition to taking to the stage, he also took to a lot of food, like a lot of food. And this hunk of burning love, which to me, he's a hunk of burning love at any size, almost killed himself. Really, I mean, got quite ill. And so now he's on an evolution, and he's going to share that with us in just a moment. He continues to grow as a human being. So what I want to do is play a funny clip, then we'll get into a deeper clip with him later because get a sense of Frank's sense of humor. I think it's very funny. Here we go. The barefoot Contessa, I call this.
I don't give a sahoodle about like Beyonce or Lady Gaga. I don't care because my gay diva is the barefoot Contessa on the Food Network. Today we're going to make lemon bars. How about half a cup of lemon juice? If you don't have lemon juice, don't worry about it. You can use some vodka or liquefied Molly. And no one will know the difference. So I'm going to turn up the volume on this lobster bisque. My friend Anna's coming over. Her family owns the Atlantic Ocean.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. A delayed but most heartfelt welcome to my friend, the gifted and talented Frank Liotti.
Hello, hi, Mola.
Hi, honey.
I look like Al Qaeda. Holy shit! Hi.
I need you closer to your microphone, darling.
How's that?
That's much better. Much better.
Okay.
How do we pronounce your name, even though I've known you for over 10 years?
I mean, my real name is Big Liotti.
So it's Frank Liotti.
So I always say Liotti.
Okay, Frank Liotti. I saw that you are now going into the medical field in addition to your creativity. And I said, what the heck is happening? I read this article and I said, Frank, come on my podcast, no matter how delayed you will be and keeping us hanging. What is going on with you? Let's talk about this trajectory to the medical field. But before we do that, let's give the backstory. Talk about your tragedies that precipitated the move for you to get on stage.
Well, it really is as you said. My mother was diagnosed with lung cancer. She was a non-smoker. I don't know why I always feel like I want to say that because it's not like anybody deserves cancer. Right. And my dad, I literally always say it blew his mind, literally, because he was like the way Christian Science people don't believe in illness. He had a brain hemorrhage. He just never expected it in a million years, even though they were old. They were 80. And he had a stroke right after she was diagnosed. So he was in a coma for about 40 days. She died 2 or 3 months later, which was enough. And then, as you said, my best friend of 32 years walked into Northern State and laid down in traffic. She had schizophrenia. I know. It's hard for people. It's hard for me to even say now. And then my sister, a year later, had stage 4 cancer. And
That's a lot. That's a lot,
yeah,
Frank.
and a few things. That's half of it. We do a scale.
Oh, scale.
The other half was the we're not college people side. That was what my dad said. After SUNY Purchase and then Yale School of Drama, I could never get a decent agent, and I didn't know why, because I knew that I was good. I really did,
Uh-huh.
because I don't know that I'm good at academics, but that I knew. And Yale didn't seem to matter. I was still getting sent in for co-stars on Law and Order for a mafia guy. And then after a while, I got it, because I saw who was getting good agents and who was getting work. And I remember saying to a friend, name 3 Italian American actors who are under 70 that are on the A list. 3 A list,
Mhm.
not Tucci or even Edie Falco, even though I love the both of them. There are none. And when I look on TV, and I should say Sicilian, there are none. There just aren't. So even though I worked, I was never going to get out of that mafia thing. I was
Really?
never going to be the lead.
Come closer to the mic. You're covering your mic now. Go ahead.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there you
I've
are.
never had trouble before. I feel like I don't want to be screaming and ruin the podcast,
You're
but
not ruining it. I need you
you
to
can
speak
hear
up,
me.
so you're helping. Yay.
Okay, because I'm shouting. Um, and then over the and then I don't know, 2012, and then 8 years went by, and there was COVID. And those 8 years, I started stand up. I gained 80 pounds. I initially was doing well early in stand up, and comics seemed to really like me.
Mhm.
And then as time went on, and I mean like in my generation, like you're, I think 1 or 2 generations of comedians, because you know how you have your
Oh,
generation.
I'm thinking you're talking age. I'm like, yeah, I'm 3
No, no, no,
generations
no, no,
ahead of
no.
you.
But you know
Great.
what I'm
Thanks,
saying? How
Frank.
you have the group you started with.
Yeah, there's a generation. That's right. There's your group you start with, and I've been doing it 20. You've been doing it, what, 10, 12.
Well,
So, yeah.
so when my group started to get representation and management and heat, and I wasn't getting it, my friends started to kind of disappear, except for like Chris Stefano, and except for your generation friends of mine like Jessica Curson and Jody
Person.
Wasserman. But the business was not, I couldn't get a break at all.
Mhm.
And all of my friends were. And then one night, after getting 5 or 6 recommendations to Esty at Comedy Cellar, Jessica said, just go up to her and introduce yourself. And I did. And she put her hand up and turned her back on me. And I think after 30 years of plugging away, that just kind of made me, as like the way an addict hits bottom, I was
Yeah.
addicted to something so dysfunctional and not bad for me.
Frank, what I want to let folks know who are watching, because they're not all comedians, is a wide range of people. When Frank says Esty put her hand up to him, Esty is the gatekeeper to the Comedy Cellar, which is considered the coolest of the cool kids comedy room on the planet.
Right.
And she can be very dismissive, very harsh, or give you the thumbs up, and your life feels comedically like you have been put onto ta-da, a higher platform. So you went up and you said, "Hi, I want to introduce myself." Did you even get a word
Because
out?
Bobby Kelly had recommended me, Lenny Marcus, Jessica Curson, DeStefano, and she would not give me an audition. I'm not saying I didn't pass. I'm saying she wouldn't even audition me.
Mm,
And it seems like and even now I've been told it's worse. Everybody gets an audition when you get a recommendation. I don't know what her problem was with me, but I kind of hit bottom. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I was diagnosed with diabetes. I gained all this weight. And then COVID hit. And I decided to take some classes. And then I took some more. I got really into neuroscience, the brain.
sure.
And in high school, if I had gotten a 65 in algebra, I would have sent up flares and opened a bottle of champagne. Could
Really?
not do math. and I thought I wouldn't be a science person, but then I started to have like a 4.0 or a 3.9 in neuroscience, neuromotor disorders. My best friend had schizophrenia, and I saw the decline over the course of 12 years. So it made what never made sense before make sense,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, and so you're studying now speech pathology?
Yeah, New York Medical College is kind of like a niche. Like you'll tell people, one of my professors said that you're a speech pathologist. 9 times out of 10, someone will say, "Oh, my neighbor's daughter does that. Oh, my daughter does that. My sister does that." And New York Medical College has that in their training, but they also have it's a medically focused program. Like I'm in cadaver lab now.
I know. That's what I was gonna ask you. When you go, Maureen, I can't talk today, I can talk on Friday because I have cadaver class. I'm like, what's happening? What the hell is happening? What do you
It's a
dissect
medically
bowels?
based.
What are you dissecting? Consonants? Automatopoeia? What are you doing to this body? What the
So
frick are you doing,
there,
Frank?
we're in groups of 4 or so, and
Everybody gets a
you
toe and splits
everyone
the
gets a
extra.
cadaver. So you start with the thoracic cavity, and you dissect it, peel
Can't
off
even
the face.
I can't
Everything looks like brisket. The pectoral rectus, abdominis, the pectoralis major, and my everything looks like it, more like corned beef. That's that color,
It's more like what?
corned beef.
I'm Irish. I don't like this analogy. I do not like this. I do not like this. I don't even know some of the body parts you just mentioned. How about that? I used to freak out looking when they would do anatomy in high school, be like, "Oh, I don't have to look at this."
Yeah,
I just get the
it's not
creeps.
bad. Everyone gets used to it in a day.
I guess you do. You have to. One of the things that I marveled about you, I loved you the minute I saw you on stage because you're honest and you're angry.
Yeah,
I love
especially
anger. I love
then.
honesty. But yet there's a love beneath you. I mean, I could feel the love beneath you. That there is not this mean, hard guy at all. To me, this is how you come across on stage. It may not be how you feel, but you come across as this very brilliant, very bright man, very likable, angry and enraged by what's going on around you. You used to make some of the darkest jokes when I met you. God forgive me, about your friend Ellen who committed suicide. I don't know, like you would just walk by, and my friend Ellen just got run over by a car. Like I'm like, what? Yeah. I mean, you would just flippantly, and I loved it because I get it. It's not that I get the loss of Ellen, and that must be heartbreaking for you. As I get the need to just say something, just say it because it's true. That's how you would. That's what I would hear. Tell me, did you not say those
I
things? Am
mean,
I not remember?
it sounds like you nailed it. I I, I think that now, being taking a step back during COVID, like that was. You can hear me, or should I put on? I have
Oh,
headphones
you're
on.
good. You're good.
Taking a step back during COVID, the beginning of it, I was on tour with Lisa Lampanelli, and then COVID hit, and I
How's
just
she doing, by the way? How's Lisa doing?
fine. I haven't spoken to her in a long time, but she's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
So I haven't carried any luggage or Diet Cokes in a while for her. So it's but anyway, that time, that decade or so on stage, when I look at it, those losses, it wasn't just one, it was four. And it wasn't over the course of a lifetime. It was a lifetime worth of loss in like 3 or so years. So particularly when I started the first 5 or 6 years, no, it got worse probably, but I don't know how I functioned when people would normally be at home sitting on the couch. I just wanted to perform so badly, and nobody would take me on, no agent. So I was like, I need to get this out of my body somehow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it can't be in 6 lines on a fucking Law and Order. It's always
No.
the same. Pop
Yeah.
lives above the luncheonette. I want to get made and be a mafia fat pig.
Yeah.
And comedy
But
was.
Frank, I want you to know though, comedy, I've been doing it 20 years and I work with bookers and some agents who
Mhm.
book here and there, but some people get ushered right through and they get set and some have talent and some don't. I remember a guy who had been doing it a couple years followed me out of a club one night And he said, Maureen, I really like what you're doing. It's smart. I'm not talking about I'm fucking a guy. That's not my thing. I mean, not that I'm saying it's not my thing. It's just saying I don't talk about it. But anyway, he said, "Do you have any advice for me?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." And this is outside the club. There's a highway. And I go, "Yeah, fuck a donkey." He said, "What?" I go, "Fuck a donkey." He goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." If you fuck a donkey, you'll be on that billboard right over there on the highway. You'll be called the donkey fucker. Everybody will hire you to headline and I can open for you. That's my advice. There you go. What do you want me to tell you? Chisel material? What do you want me to do? Use alliteration, assonance? What do you want me to tell you? Part of that's a joke, but part of it isn't. Because I had to go up one night after what is the naked cowboy, the friggin' guy in his underpants in the
He's a
middle of
Trump
Times
guy,
Square.
yeah. Big Trumpy
What,
guy.
yeah, what is he called? The naked cowboy?
Naked
What is he?
cowboy.
Sitting around his underwear. I had to go up after him one night. It's like, what's happening? Because he's famous or well known, so it doesn't matter. But some
Yeah,
people are talented, and we know some of our friends who have gotten to higher places. But even
right.
there, they're like, how come it's not higher? How come I'm not even in a further place? And when I started, Tim Davis was teaching classes at Stand Up New York, and he said, just keep in mind, wherever you are in this business, you're going to want to be at a higher level.
Right.
So I love doing it. And there are places I used to work. I don't work now. There are people who go, "Where have you been? Come work for me." My calendar used to be booked. Well, the pandemic screwed all of us up. I'm going to Edinburgh in August. Going to have a good time. I have my own little venue. I don't know.
I could not work in a restaurant anymore without ever being able to go to them. Does that make
Huh?
sense?
No, repeat that.
I could not work one more day in a restaurant without ever being able to go to them as a patron. I
Oh,
was so tired of walking by outdoor cafes and seeing people enjoying their lives and pursuing this business for 25 years, being really well trained, having friends with ICM and CAA that had no training or just started,
mhm.
or because they were the flavor of the week,
Right.
and PC or whatever people need to do to,
Hmm.
at this point. Some people sound like they're giving a lecture in a women's studies class, but they fit what is the moment, if that makes sense. And
Yes.
I
I want
was
to do
so
that.
broken.
I want to do that. And who books that? Frank, who books that? I want to do that. Really? I'm a woman. I could talk about vaginas or the evolution of the tampon. I could do
I think her name
that.
is Betty Friedan.
Oh, yeah. Well, only if she were hotter. The things that could have happened for her. She could have had a sitcom.
But after 12 years of that, and then COVID, and then 20 as an actor, and I was like, this is really not going anywhere. But it's COVID. But what scared me, this is so crazy. I kind of have Lainey Kazan to thank for this. You
Oh,
know who
good.
Lainey Kazan is, right?
Yes, of course, of course.
If you Google her and scroll down a bit, after My Greek Wedding or Barbara Streisand's audition, she was caught shoplifting a roast chicken. And I thought, from a
Are you
supermarket. Now, I don't know if she's a kleptomaniac. That never came into my head. But I thought, if Lainey Kazan is broke and I know her name, what am I going to do when I retire? My dad was a custodian. My
Wait a minute.
mother,
She's broke after this?
no, in
She's
other
broke
words, why
after
did she
her
have to
acting?
shoplift food? Why didn't she have the money to pay for a roast chicken?
Was this when she was a younger woman, of
No,
course?
3 years ago, 4 years ago. And she was
Oh, then
flying
maybe
saying that
she
she was broke. And I thought, well, yeah, she did an independent film. She was in Beaches. But how does somebody like that pay the rent?
mm, mm.
What am I going to do? My parents were blue collar people. I have no money. I need to be able to support myself and not have it poison my spirit like restaurant work.
Well, my guest, if you're just tuning in, is Frank Liotti, Vigliotti, Frank Liotti for short, a comedian, a Yale-trained actor who could only get stereotypical BS roles on Law and Order. I would
Small
love,
one.
huh?
Couldn't even get in the room for
Could I
the.
be the abused Irish wife of a cop? Could I be that on one of these shows? They don't call. Can I? Please, I'll be any stereotype they want. I don't even give a crap. What do they
When I would
need?
get to the set, when I finally would get something, it seemed like everything that was 2 scenes would get cut to 1 line when I got there that day. But I saw what was there. and there was nothing that made them special ever.
Mm.
I remember, like, on the Law and Order set, some of the leads, one of them gave me acting notes with horrific breath, and I thought, "You're giving me acting notes?
Wow.
Wow." And
Wow, wow, wow.
I saw, like, who it was Ice-T. I mean, I'll say, I mean, I'm not gonna work with him again, but it was
His
so
breath was that
ludicrous.
bad.
He hadn't shown up to the rehearsal or the dry block or the anything that everyone else had. He strolled in like cock of the walk, and then there was that. And I thought, this is a disgust. This is I can't do this. I I have to see what else is in my head, see if I'm
Mm.
smart, see if I can do
Well, you
anything
are
else.
smart. Anybody who ever watches you take the stage knows you're smart. What we're talking about with Frank is just a comedy and tragedy, and really the trajectory coming from a lot of pain, a lot. He lost 4 people very close to him: his parents within 3 months, his sister to cancer, his best friend who laid down on the Northern State Parkway or whatever the hell
Yeah,
it was, and let a
that's good
car
to
hit her.
tell you.
God
Yeah,
bless her soul,
I
and the
know.
dark humor that would come out of him. And I want to show one of your clips. Um, and then he overate. Like, first of all, I think you're so handsome, the most
Woo!
beautiful eyes. I don't care what size you are, but for your health, I'm so glad. You did go from a hunk of burning love at a certain chiseled weight to a hunk of burning love, a lot of love, a whole
Just
lot of love
yeah.
going on. You almost killed yourself with it. So talk about,
Well, I
what you were
could have
doing to
gotten
yourself.
work with Dr. Now on my
What?
600. I could have gotten work with Dr. Now on my 600-pound life.
Okay, I have a joke about because the woman, she's 1,000 pounds. I think there's now 1,000 pound life. I do. I think there is. I don't watch it. My
I'm
mother
sorry
was
to
like,
laugh, but it's, I get it.
I just want to eat until I get a show. So the thing is, she said, I read this. I don't know her, but in the paper she said, I just want to hear a man to say those 4 magic words. Will you marry me? I said, well, she's certainly not going to hear sit on my face.
Wait. A lot of these women,
Crack myself up. Good.
but like I said, so that is a really good joke.
I know. Dirty.
Like
That's
my
a dirty
sister was
name.
like, "Why can't I find somebody?" And then I look at these women, and some of their boyfriends, a lot of them are the size of my asthma inhaler. They're so teeny, and some of them are kind of cute. And I'm like, "Wow!" They're abused by these women. Like they have to bring
Oh.
fried chicken. Like that one woman who called Domino's at 10:15 in the morning, even though they opened at 10:30. She was like, "Well, can I order it now?"
Oh, you know a lot about this show. I
I love
don't.
it. Well, I
I want
used
to
to watch it when I had time for TV.
when you were on your way to auditioning, when you had the okay, hold on.
Okay.
Let me I know you weren't that big. I'm making a joke because you were overeating and you admit it. Here's
Yeah.
Frank taking his tragedy of losing so many people and his diabetes and his growing weight and turning it into a comedy bit. Here we go.
I thought it would be cute to use my adult biography to help my niece with her math homework. Frank had 4 funerals in 5 years and bought 3 suits. If he started at a 42 regular and gained 13 pounds after each tragedy, what size tarp did Frank wear the last service?
See, that's what I love about you because that's really honest.
I mean, that's a really good joke.
I
And
know.
when I look at there was this one girl who was so evil to me, and she wrote something about me on Facebook. Some stereotype. I had made a Melania Trump joke, and she wrote, "I can't believe how many gay guys are so misogynistic." And I said, first of all, like, I know you. If I upset you, talk to me. Write to me. Don't post on a public forum some hateful homophobic thing when what drives your act is racism, and in this case, misogyny. Never saw her get a laugh, works for Comedy Central. So
Wow.
I look at my clip, and that's funny.
It's really funny.
That's 600
Unfortunately, this
pound
is
life
not an
joke.
equitable business. It just isn't. So I'm
Right,
at a point I do it for the love of it.
right.
Wherever the ship leads, it leads, or if it doesn't, it doesn't. I say no to things now that I'm like, no, thanks. No.
Yeah.
Like, well, no,
When you get to
I
that,
don't want to.
I'm grabbing my charger. When you get to that point, when you get to that, first of all, before you throw me under the bus and say, "Oh, Frank was late," I spent 20 minutes with what is it, Snapchat, Steam Pipe, trying to get to a room and it was telling me that I needed Chrome, and I'm like, I'm on Chrome, and I downloaded Chrome 3 times.
Yes, Frank.
I had clicked Spotify though, and I was on not Spotify. What's the other one? Safari. I was trying to get it from Safari instead of.
You can't. Guess what, Frank? Who asked you to please click on this ahead of the show?
I did, and it took me to it. It still takes you to it. But
Oh,
when you click on the enter the room, Safari won't, you know.
Yeah, Safari doesn't work. I did put that in bold. It doesn't matter.
But I clicked on it. You're not hearing me, Lisa. I mean, Maureen. It's for headaches.
I hear you, Frank, and I see you and I raise you. Listen, you're here now, and that's what matters to me. I want to do a quick little self-promotion thing for myself, Frank, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
My comedy special's out on Dry Bar. Don't jump off a bridge, Frank. And it's called Don't Make Me Hate You. Go to drybarcomedy.com and get it. Would you? If you enter the promo code Maureen Langan, you'll get the first 30 days free if you do the monthly membership. Don't Make Me Hate You. Please do it, support it. It means the world to me. And I'd love for you to follow and review the show. Only good reviews. Ain't nobody got time for your negativity. Go to maureenlangan.com, my podcast page, and they'll have a whole list of where you can get it, wherever you get your podcast. And I would really appreciate if you'd be supportive. You can also, one other way you can support, which is really great if you want, this would mean the heck of a lot. You can do it at the beginning at $5, is to go to patreon.com. That's an artist's website. It's where you can support artists, and that's what you can do. So you go to patreon.com, Maureen Langan, and what you get there is, you'll see, I'll send you a Don't Make Me Hate You t-shirt. You'll get all the videos, because the audio goes on all the other platforms, and that's where you get the video. All nice things. I'm a very good person. Bonus stuff. Back to you, Frank Liotti, Big Liotti. So I see you're very discouraged with the comedy world, and you took your tragedies and took them to the comedy world. And it sounds like it gave you a really great emotional release, but it did not give you the professional business rewards that you thought hard work would bring.
Like when I was let's be real for a minute. When I really was doing it, like I would do well in front of audiences, but from a business perspective, if I were a manager, I was fat, but not ugly enough to play the best friend. My material was about dead people or tragedy. Like now when I write stand-up, it's lighter. I mean, it's silly, but fun with punchlines, but I was a walking zombie, you know, for nearly a decade.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of pain, but I'm like you. I have to not like you with that, knock wood, but when I had a bunch of miscarriages, you're not supposed to talk about that.
I was just going to say, you had a miscarriage joke that was so funny. I was going to say it 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I said, people don't like that, but they're like, I said, you're on the fence about having kids when you have a miscarriage. You go, whoa, that was close. And then I said, that's not true. I really had 6. And people say, do you know why you had so many? I go, yes. Every time Keeping Up with the Kardashians got renewed, my kid killed itself. So dark.
Well, that was, remember you had another version of that? I'm not going to say it out loud.
You can say it.
I remember that. If you remember a joke years later from another comic after watching it every night, because it was that funny, then you know.
Was that the one you're talking about, or was it something different?
Yes, but the name was not the Kardashians.
Oh, I wonder who it was. You'll have to private chat me. Private chat me. Let's private chat. Look at me. Huh?
Whenever so-and-so gets another TV show or comedy special, and then there was the same punchline. What's her name again?
Don't say it. Private chat it, so I don't end my career, because I have no career. And I just want to be successful enough to get canceled. Like, that's all I want.
Yeah, my podcast is so horrifically politically incorrect, and we haven't been canceled. And we just did the movie Precious. No one's canceling us. So
I repeat that, because I was reading the private chat who I said, let me tell you something. The reason I used that particular comic's name is because I was on a show with her early on. She's pretty famous, guys. I mean, like
Cody Fields, everybody. She doesn't want to
say Fields, but she had 2 legs to stand on. So this woman, I wish her listen, she seems like a big-hearted person. She got ushered through. She admitted that she was young and green, and I think she has a good heart, and I do think she has a talent, and I do think she helps other people along the way. I just remember when she was a youngin, and I had a feature, and she headlined, even though I had twice the experience at the time. But also, when you get ushered through, you really do develop. You have the support, you have the confidence, you have people helping you. I don't begrudge her. In fact, I'm happy for her because she does good things for other people with that success. But she said to me, I have to leave the room. That joke was so funny. I don't want to absorb your material.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
Well, the fact that you would. But then you have to like, but yeah, that was amazing. But you got what I'm talking about early on with all her success. You're like, one more thing she's getting, one more thing. She gets one more thing. I can't take it. But I don't.
And an important thing that you said, though, and you phrased it a different way, but the stage time that one gets in that position, in other words, not 5 minutes at an open mic, or not begging someone at Stand Up by the Pothole Club or Stand Up by the Dumpster for a 6-minute set for 3 people from Romania who don't know what the fuck you're talking about and why are they at a comedy club where no one speaks their language. When you're in front of 1,500 people, 1,200, even 100, and you get 15 minutes and you get stage time to develop, you get confidence because you have stage time, and then you have management, you get a little more confidence, and you're starting to percolate and get work. That's how you develop. Whereas after a decade or 12 years or 13 or 15, when you're still doing for me, when I was still doing.
No, you're speaking about yourself. I got it.
The bottom of the barrel gigs, if I was lucky enough to get them, I was like, this isn't worth it, because the underbelly of stand-up is not fun. It's not like actors where stand-up, anyone can do it. Anyone can call themselves a comic. Anybody.
And they do.
And they do. They can produce a show at Food Luck Kitchen. They literally can, and be like, everyone come, and I'm going to headline, and you can do 5 minutes, and I'll pay you in food, egg rolls.
Well, I went to the Duplex last week, and the Duplex, if you folks ever get an opportunity to go to the Village and just go there on a Tuesday night now, it's suddenly stand up. What I love about that place, we started there, a group of us 20 years ago, the generation ahead of you, Jessica Kirsten, Danny Cohen, Jodie Wasserman, Karen Bergreen, so many wonderful people that I know through the business. And it's a cabaret, you guys. It's a gay bar. And now on the second floor on Tuesday nights, Michael Brill hosted. This guy.
He does. Michael Brill is back?
Yeah, he's hosting it on Tuesday nights. And he makes me laugh so friggin' hard I can't breathe. But what's up? He's hysterical. I brought him to baby shower and a corporate event. And he's like, bitches, sit down.
Wait,
like,
can I interrupt you? Can I interrupt you a second? Because I think he had just taken it over when I started from, God rest her soul, Poppy Kramer.
What a loss to our comedy community. What a loss.
Michael Brill I thought that I could not believe some of the comics in that room, not right, because he stayed on a microphone, which was Poppy did it too when you did your 5 minutes by the piano on Wednesdays. And if you were lucky enough for him to interrupt you, he gave people punchlines that turned the room on its ear. And I thought, how are they not writing that down and using it next week when they do the same joke?
Michael, yes. One of the most quick-witted people on the, he said the other night, this is now Tuesday nights upstairs, folks, at 6:30. Get to the Duplex if you can.
Was he funny?
A lot of people, he'll give me more time because I've been at this and we started together. And even when I was getting off, he goes, what are you talking? Not getting off. When I was getting off the stage, he was like, more pasties. But he was like, do more time. But one guy was up there going way too long. And he started a bit. Michael's like, wrap it up. But the guy's not seeing the cue. So the young comic says, so, when I was 29, no, he goes, now that I'm in my 30s, he goes, yeah, at the beginning of your set, you were 29, something like that. But he said it in Michael's way, so quick. But what I like about the Duplex is, I love straight white guys. Oh my God, Michael Brill is watching. All right. I wanted him to come on the show. Guess what? But he's too busy with his quick wit running around Manhattan.
I love you guys. That faggot had no sense of humor. Can you imagine?
I love him so much. I think he's so. What I wanted to say about the Duplex, though, what I love about it, I love white straight men. There's nothing wrong with that, but that is such a disproportionate voice that's on the stages. And when you're at the duplex, you have straight women, gay men, trans people. I don't know who, if they're he, they, she, they, a lot of theys, whatever. I'm happy for people. And you have voices that you're not getting everywhere. Danny McWilliams, just funny people. And it's nice to hear people talking about things you don't hear mainstream clubs all the time. So that's that.
It
Michael.
was my gym. It was my comedy gym. Seriously, and it's
I
still
know, I
with
love
me.
it.
And it's still
I
with
was
me.
I was on a high for 2 days after I left doing that show the other night. That really fueled it. But I get what you're saying. The business isn't a business. It's not. There is no rhyme or reason. There is no you do the right thing, here's the path. When I was a broadcaster here, it's still, that's why I do the podcast, because that's what I did for years too. And I love it. I love doing this. I love knowing about you. I love knowing what makes you tick. Oh, you will come, and thank you for asking. Yeah, watch it, everybody. Michael Brill says he will come on my podcast, and thank you for asking. I want to talk about the history of the duplex with him, because Joan Rivers, that was her workout room. There's such a history there, and I want to do that with Michael Brill and Danny McWilliams. So listen, what is your advice? You're moved on to a medical field. You want to realize some respect for your brains. That's what it sounds like, and an income.
I can't wait to get back to stand up. I just needed a way to support myself. Yeah, this is not, I cannot wait to get back. I just could not, I was afraid to, I can't.
Steal a chicken. You didn't want to steal a chicken.
I didn't want to pull a Laney Kazan and shoplift a rotisserie chicken from Stop and Shop.
Do you think it was lemon or herb or just plain?
I think she should have gone to self-checkout and just, bought a pack of gum and put that in the bag.
I used to, when I worked at the supermarket, I know it's not right, but my heart was right. Some of the older people, I knew they didn't have a lot of money, and I would whisk some of their stuff through without ringing it up.
Oh,
I did. I know. It's good, but bad. I know.
Okay.
So what's your advice to, go ahead.
It's after hours, and I'm in a room at New York Medical College that no one would ever come in, and someone just came into the room, and I wanted to say things that I'm not supposed to say.
That you could say in the comedy world.
Oh my God, that's a huge thing now. Huge. That's the hardest part about coming back to school. Hardest part
is
I'm used to being around artists, not just comedians, artists. And it's a different generation, number one, because I'm 1.9 million years older than everybody. Yes. I'm the only guy in a cohort of 39 or 37 people. It's like going to school to be a fucking manicurist. Nobody's a speech pathologist. This is 4%. It's crazy. And it's not always easy with humor and the TikTok generation. No,
you can't. But when you say you're studying speech pathology, when somebody's pathological, so I'm thinking you're studying people who really can't stop saying curse words or being really gross in their language. Anyway, that's Tourette syndrome. But you know what Yui said, my father said the other day? He's so funny. I go, Dad, have you ever heard Kanye West? Yeah, I don't like communist music, like Kanye West, communist. So he goes, I said, Dad, it's Kanye West, not communist. I don't care what country it is, West, East, I don't like communism. He knows what so what is he's a nut. What is your advice, though? And I know everybody processes differently. My best friend lost her son in a rock climbing accident at the age of 23. Horrible. People have horrific tragedies in their life. You were numb for many years, though hysterically funny about your my dead friend Ellen. Like you would just say that. Oh, my dead friend Ellen. Yeah. And I get it. That kind of. But what would you say to people who struggle with tragedy? You can only speak for yourself, but what helps you?
I met Ellen when I was in first grade and she was in third in guitar class after school. I thought I was going to grow old with her. I mean, I do have a partner, but I hate that fucking word. Like it's square dancing, partner. I just can't.
Pizzeria owner. Yeah.
The person I live with, the one that I watch Netflix with, 18 years of sexless bliss, whatever. But I thought I was going to grow old with Ellen. I really did. She was my memory. She knew the way I used to climb the library shelves in guitar class at Greenfield School. She knew the same teachers. She knew the same pop culture references. We could sit there in silence at Starbucks doing crosswords. I knew her as a schizophrenic person. It was that one and my sister. It was different from my parents, as I'm sure your friend knows with Oh my goodness, with her son. Uh, as much as I'm a big fan of working on oneself with therapy, with a cousin of mine said, make the right choices because it's going to take you down a road and it's going to take you. This was after one loss, but she was right. You got to make choices and not eat Taco Bell 3 times a day. But also, if you do go to therapy and you do make the right choices, remember that the only thing that's really going to pull you through that is time. It's a healing wound. And I don't know that we ever get over it. It becomes, people say, oh, it always lives in your heart. That's like a greeting card. Yeah, but it becomes part of your personality and part of your psyche and part of your being. We learn how to wake up every day.
Oof.
You know what I mean? We learn how
I
to see the
don't.
sun. Right,
I
right.
don't
God
know what you
forbid.
mean.
We learn how to see the sunshine again. All of a sudden, that doom and gloom will start to lift, but we have to take some kind of action. And for me, that was changing it up after a decade, studying neuroscience, trying something new. It took me so long to say, I don't have to leave this behind. I don't have to just stop doing it. I mean, they may forget about me in 18 or 14 months, but you can add to who you are. You can go back to school at 60 or 65 to be a doctor. It doesn't matter. There are no rules, but you have got to give yourself time after tragedy and breathe
Yeah.
through it, adjust to your new outfit of skin. It takes time.
You know,
to-
my friend said there's life before and there's life after.
exactly. And it
They're
will
still
get
living
better.
life,
It will
huh?
get better. It will get
Mm.
better. That you have to keep. If I knew that, you have to keep chanting it. It will get better. As much as people told me to try something new, I couldn't hear it. I couldn't. It had to be my way or the highway. And then all of a sudden I did. And I'm talking about two different things, but trying something new was what took me to the next level of healing. Doing something for my brain and my health, besides the gym, besides going plant-based, which I did.
Clam bakes?
Plant-based.
Oh.
Do you have a hearing aid? Clam-based. But not clam-baked. Plant-based, because I don't believe in eating our pets.
I know. I know. I've read a lot about you doing that, and you look
Oh my
fantastic.
God,
And
I cheated on, I don't want to say. Let me
well,
tell you what, I cheated once in 2.5 years. Let me tell you what, though. I had to do this vegan video they asked me to do, which was very sweet. A former comic asked me to do it, and they made me hold a chicken and say that it was like holding a puppy. And I wanted to snap its neck and bread it and put it in raw egg and fry it. It was not like a puppy. It was like holding something that had an M&M for a brain with a beak, and it's not that little yellow chick on the Cabaret egg commercial. It's a
no, it's not an Easter little bunny. But what did you cheat with? Tell me.
the one time I cheated, turkey.
Of meat. And when you want something
It was
sweet, Frank
upsetting.
went all plant-based because he was off the charts in terms of numbers with diabetes
And
and
I
his weight.
didn't want to be on medication and have the disease get progressively worse. One physician's assistant, PA, recommended this book, How Not to Die. And the one that I keep buying for people is Reversing Diabetes by Dr. Neil Bernard. It made my triglycerides go from 1,300 to 90 within about 3 months. My A1C went from, again, 13% to 5.4. I mean, it's like this racket of prescriptions
Well,
that,
I watched the video that was done on you from, if you Google it, if you go to YouTube, I think it's about a 5-minute video that you talk about your health. Some people were interviewing you. It was a turning point or something
that's
like
where I
that.
hold the chicken.
You hold a chicken, and he's like, they have feelings. I'm like, he's so full of shit. So anyway, just don't eat it. But I don't know. It's like, my mom grew up in a farm in Ireland, and dinner to her was cornering a chicken, wringing its neck, and putting it on a plate. But that's what I tell her. We're going to wrap up soon here. But what do you do for sweets when you're a plant-based person? Because you don't
Well,
want to call
first of
yourself a
all,
vegetarian.
your palate vegan. I mean, nobody vegan. You think of like a woman who raises her arm and shows you the dead kitten that's growing under it, and where's patchouli oil? Like nobody wants that, and they're always mad. Learn how to
Hate the
treat
cheese.
people nice first before you worship a chicken. Learn how to like hold the door for people and be nice and not always shout at them. Vegans have a bad reputation, even though what they stand for is beautiful. A lot of vegans I know are mean, but not all of them, obviously. The small percentage I know, but I know some beautiful people too. Your palate changes. Mine did, and yours will too. I didn't really crave anything sweet, and I'm telling you, I would eat the frosting off of an Entenmann's cake. Seriously, I
Oh,
wrote
yeah,
them a
who would?
letter. I wrote them a letter when they went from rectangle cakes to a square, and they were half the thickness. I wrote them a letter when they
I don't
canceled
blame you.
cream-filled chocolate chip loaf. I wrote them a letter. So
Good.
if I can lose
I
that.
would have too. I love chocolate.
So I got into for a while, Trader Joe's has some, it's called
Oh,
Montezuma. No, and
oh.
everywhere else on the internet it's $9. There it's $2.50. It's dark chocolate, and at first it turned my eyes to cartoon X's. But then after a while I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I put a little peanut butter on it. It's all right.
What are they?
It's a dark chocolate bar, Montezuma.
All right. I like chocolate. We're going to wrap up, but Jeff wants to say that you guys must be married to the same person you were making a joke about.
Hi, Jeff.
Dana Friedman, who I adore for what she did to
Hi,
keep the duplex
Dana.
going during COVID. She says hi to you. You know what? One of the things I had a thought. First of all, how can people support you, follow you? Where's your website or your
Oh,
social media?
okay. The thing that's keeping me going right now,
Mhm.
my best friend from drama camp when I was 12, but I'm not gay, we started a podcast together
Mhm.
called Jiffy Pop Culture. And it took off. It's doing great. I'm shocked. It's the first thing I've ever done that's actually successful. We do, like this week, we did the movie Precious. We did Valley of the Dolls, Rocky Horror, Mommy Dearest, cult movies, but then some TV stuff like Boy in the Plastic Bubble, Sarah T, Portrait of a Teenage Alcoholic, 16 Candles, and I roast it. We roast them. I write jokes for it. So for an hour or two, it's punchlines, and it's so politically incorrect. And I feel like I'm finally on time. I'm not too late because the world is dying for politically incorrect material. It took
Jiffy
off.
Pop Culture Podcast, folks. Jiffy Pop Culture Podcast, and it's Frank Liotti.
With
One of the
Isla
things
Mel, with Isla Mel. I have to mention my co-host, Isla Mel. Oh, she
okay, I'm
wrote
gonna write
Project Runway, the book,
Project Runway, the book,
and a book
and
on
what is your
Fashion
co-host
Week.
name?
Isla, Eila.
Eila. That's a hard name to ever remember. Go ahead.
What's it? Not Safari. What's her name?
Ela,
Calling,
Elia, huh?
calling Ela, the little robot woman in my car. Calling Ela. Like, no, that thing can't even say her name. Mel, Mell. Jiffy
Okay,
Pop Culture.
so check that out, you guys. Jiffy Pop Culture with Frank and this person. Is that a man or a woman or a they?
It's a woman.
Okay, very good. And Project Runway, the book. I'm really good at this. You got to check me out at drybarcomedy.com, Maureen Lang, and that's my special. Or please go to Patreon. Chocolates come from cocoa pods that grow out on a tree in a plant, says my friend Molly Barber, the romper room lady. Lex says, needed this, lost my mom in September unexpectedly. One friend passed right after that, another this week to cancer. I'm so, so sorry. So
Oh,
sorry for your loss.
something Joan
Lex.
Rivers said, Lex, life, when she, in her documentary, when she went to Flo Fields, I forget her name, the photographer had, I think, MS. And she said, sometimes life can be so mean. And it's true. When I look at the diseases I'm learning about, MS, ALS, Parkinson's, Huntington's, Alzheimer's, dementia, that's the brain stuff I see. It is heartbreaking. And when you're going through it, you wish you had somebody else's problems, a breakup, can't pay your bills, because illness and death permeates you 24/7. You don't get a break. So I hear you, and it's going to be okay. You'll heal. It's not easy.
One of the things you said about taking action, and again, so funny because I was raised Catholic and I'm not a practicing Catholic, but I have this affinity for Mary because she came to my dream one night and said, "Fall back, I have you." And then I went for a jog that morning. It was like 8 a.m. This stoner just screeches his car, stops in front of me, and goes and kneels at a statue of Mary. I was like, "Whoa!" And yeah. So anyway, I read somewhere she symbolizes hope, and hope is action. So they said hope is action. When I get the whole Holy Mary spiritual thing I brought in, but I didn't even need to bring that in. If you People say hope is not a thought. Hope is an action. When you take action, you have hope. You can't hope things change. By you going to school, your action creates hope.
It changed my psyche. It did. That Oprah thing, luck is preparation and this and that. Bullshit. You got seen on your friend's audition tape when you were 22. Luck means luck, bitch. But let me tell you what. Let me tell you something. If you start to take some kind of action and do something about how you feel, it's not that it's luck. It's not that right place, right time. It's not like your dreams will come true. It'll make you feel better.
Yeah. And that's it. Thank you, David Gilbert, for watching. I want you folks to please go to maureenlangan.com. Subscribe to my podcast. Go to the podcast page. It's all there. Click on which one you want. Get my comedy special, drybarcomedy.com, called Don't Make Me Hate You. I have a bunch of gigs coming up, a Catch a Rising Star in Princeton, some in Pennsylvania. But I'm so grateful that you were here with me today, Frank. I feel really honored.
I love talking with you so much. I was cursing you when I couldn't log into stream.
I was cursing you when you couldn't log in.
Oh my God. You all can check me out on OnlyFans. It's called noholesbarred.com. And it's just $9.99 a month, and I'll do whatever you want.
Is this true or not?
No,
it sounds like you might. I don't know. You're a fun guy.
Jiffy pop culture. No. I have friends in pornography. They're not. Yeah, it's not my thing.
All right, no, but hey, whatever gets you through the night. What do I care?
Right.
Just hang tight 1 second. I'm going to put you in the green room and say goodbye. Please follow me at maureenlangan.com. Please share this. Let people know about the podcast. Give a review on Apple if you can. Just go to maureenlangan.com. Check it all out and get my special. So we're going to keep these going, and I really appreciate your support. You can go to patreon.com. That's where you support artists. You can do a monthly support of $5, $10. That's up to you. Even more. Become an executive producer. But you know the routine. Let me get to my tech stuff here. Until we meet again. Not yet. Wait, I have to have the right video. I'm very good at this. Okay. No, that's not the one. You know what it is? Here it is. No, that's not it. It's a video that says goodbye. You're going to like it. I spent a lot of time on this. Here we go. Until we met again. Bye, wig. Mwah.
No, you cannot leave me like that.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review, and feel free to share it with a friend.
Please don't go, please.
I'll be back.
Au revoir.